SWOT analysis, what is it? It's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats that a business may face. So many people wonder, why is this such an important part of in business analysis? Because it allows you to work out the viability of your company. So normally the threats and mixed with the weaknesses can risk your company's future. You can either go bankrupt, there could be legal issues, regulation issues, stuff like that could come into play that threaten your business. So this is why you use a SWOT analysis to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the business, so you can invest more money into the weaknesses to fix them, and also the opportunities and threats to see where you should invest money, whether it's into new technology to improve the productivity of a business, and the threats such as competitors and rivals could be taking new approaches, and such as government regulations could come into play, because this was a big thing with the Segways that everyone was buying. Regulation came into the UK saying that they could not be driven on paths or public roads, meaning they were basically worthless because you could only use them at home, which no one would do anyway. So here's an example of one that I did for Airbus, just to show you how you do it. So you'd find a few I normally say 2 or 3 points if you're just doing a little one for some coursework or things like that. So I'd pick 3 strengths, 2 or 3. So in here I've got 3 strengths: the market share of Airbus, which is 57%, and recently they have just overtook Boeing completely now, because of Boeing's having a disaster at the moment. The innovation, so new engines, new products, and the fuel efficiency, which is one of their biggest strengths over Boeing. The weaknesses, they were getting a lot of backlogs and the high production costs. So what I would do with these would be talk about and go into detail with the strengths. This is just a brief summary of the strengths, so I'd go into much more detail with them, and then go into much more detail with the weaknesses and decide whether there's more strengths than weaknesses. Then the opportunities and threats, talk about the growth and advancements in technology that Airbus could use, and then talk about threats. For Airbus, there isn't too many threats because they have such a strong brand nowadays that a business trying to enter will struggle to overtake them. And even Boeing's struggling now, meaning Airbus's market share is getting bigger because more people are choosing, more companies are going over to Airbus. However, there is also the Chinese that are trying to create their own set of aircrafts, which is a threat for them, for Airbus, because the Chinese have a lot of money they could invest into it, especially if it's a government-sponsored project. So a SWOT analysis will then lead into a PESTLE analysis, which stands for political, environmental, social, technological, legal and economical factors. So it goes into more detail than what this does, because this is just a brief overview. Then you'd go into a PESTLE analysis that explains in more detail, which I'll cover later on in the next video. Any questions, feel free to drop them down below, and I'll comment back and give you any advice with SWOT analysis as soon as possible.